Hello, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. My name is Shasta, and I am coming to you from Hawaii Island. And my neighbor is doing a lot of mowing, so I will do my best to keep the noise down in this presentation, and hopefully we will get through all of the information that I am going to present to you. So my presentation is on community accountability as a model for change in our modern era, so in the digital age. And what I have encountered is something that is peer-supported online harm reduction groups. And these groups are now being run on Discord. They are completely unsupervised and are actually run by a community of people who are currently suffering from substance abuse. So having encountered these communities, I started thinking about a model for a new way, given the things that I've learned in this course, to promote change and growth in individuals who suffer from substance abuse disorder. And this year in August, my friend Jonny Martin passed away, and he lost his long battle to substance abuse disorder. And this presentation is dedicated to the memory of my dearest friend, Jonny Martin. Jonny sought support in our time on a place called Blue Light on Discord, and it was a community-run peer mentoring group where Discord users, people who were members of Discord, could sign on to a video chat and, excuse me, and they could actually engage with one another. And what happened there is that certain behaviors were actually reinforced. And I'd like to explore ways that by using paradigms that we've learned in this course in change theory, something like this with assigned screened volunteers and peer mentors, positive change could be initiated in individuals. So in terms of helping people to actually share their stories, create communities that are spaces for growth. So in these growth spaces, there are spaces where people can learn and engage with one another and foster transformation and sustainable change. And throughout this course, we've talked about ways that individuals can foster sustainable change. That would be like a second order change. A lot of individuals who suffer from substance abuse disorder are resistant to changing that very behavior, the harmful addiction patterns. And sometimes they have their ingrained ideas within the community about rehab and about healing and growth and pain in their relationships to themselves and their family. And so it could be productive to have a mentor, there to help guide someone, hold their hand, and facilitate their growth to this new second order change. So I'm on slide 4 now, and on slide 4 you'll see, just a picture of, watering this plant, so maybe a mentor could do that. And I think that's some of the essence of family therapy and family counseling, because addiction is a family systems issue. So let's take a look at slide 5, and these are the roles that mentors have. And I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into the roles that mentors have, because in addiction-affected communities, the collective mindset often normalizes destructive behaviors. And members will also normalize their action and those of others, which that can create a sense of false solidarity. So the mentor is actually there to do the work of helping to kind of break down that autonomy, that self-sustaining system that exists within addiction communities, because they have minimal influence from external environments. I realize I may have to speak up. So I apologize if at this point I have not been speaking loud enough. So, an autonomous system is this unbroken system where the boundaries are unbroken, and a mentor can help to facilitate those boundaries that have been broken, or to actually show someone how to live differently, and make a reference to an alternate external environment, something, because somebody who's locked in certain behavior patterns will have ideas about the external environment. So they can help to shape a new structure, and break down the autonomous system and maybe possibly create a new, self-sustaining, healthier system for individuals to model their behavior on. So, a mentor should have really strong emotional intelligence, a lot of empathy, and understand how to foster really deep connections with people. And that's, a mentor can also help people with goal setting. And this goal setting can hopefully, potentially, help an individual to break down those challenges that they have in establishing a new autonomous system. So by demonstrating healthy behaviors, there's a new system that's created. So, a therapist may use a feedback system to insert corrective data, and I think a mentor can also reinforce the therapeutic feedback system, hopefully. Especially when they're selected and screened in like this vision of like a nonprofit organization for those who have and suffer from substance abuse disorder, to be able to engage with healthy people who can help to model for them the behaviors that they may have lost or never learned due to, certain family systems. So, they may come from a family where the entire system does not believe in mental health counseling. So there's a barrier right there to an individual actually seeking support for an issue that they have that is, like in my friend's case, life-threatening, right? So substance abuse disorder does actually take people's lives, and it is a very challenging disorder to treat. So, moving on to slide 6, we can talk about maps and territory. So maps are theoretical frameworks that social workers learn. You have like applying socioeconomics factors, Marxist theories, Freudian theories. There are other, but the territory is an individual's lived experiences, and a lot of times an individual who suffers from substance abuse disorder feels very stereotyped. They may not always be someone who grew up in a single family household. They may not be somebody who comes from a poor neighborhood. They may not be someone who suffers from ADHD. There's a multitude of reasons why someone may have this disease. It may be something that runs in their family, but it skips a generation, or it manifests only with like certain gene combinations. So there's not a complete understanding of a disorder like substance abuse disorder, and it is deadly. So coming up with a way of bridging the maps and the territory together, and a mentor can help certain people engage, especially if a mentor is working in conjunction with a licensed and counseling therapist, to be a coach for the individual and sort of bridge that as an advocate, help to build understanding so that trust can develop, and there's more support that an individual can get in those circumstances, and possibly they won't feel so marginalized where they have to go back to these autonomous communities where harm happens, where they're living or engaging, online or however they're engaging with people who have the exact same disease as them and who are suffering from the exact same patterns without a window to the outside world. So hopefully a mentor can provide that for individuals, to build a bridge. So, moving on to slide 7, so these guiding maps, these theoretical frameworks are important. They are structured approaches, and community leaders should be familiar with them, but the power of feelings that individuals have and their lived experiences should not be undershadowed in these communities. So personal narratives, structure, like their struggle, their recovery, their transformation, a lot of these experiences actually do transcend theoretical models. So a mentor can really provide that authentic presence for an individual when they're in crisis and feel very misunderstood and need a helping hand. So, excuse me. So yeah, we're looking at, ways of distinguishing, teaching people how to listen deeply, to have these very authentic experiences where an individual is able to transform themselves. My throat is getting really, 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 really dried out. I apologize very much. I did not prepare, but there we go. So sorry. Yeah, so it's an opportunity for an individual to have integration, which is a really big challenge when you're looking at something like second order changes or ways of creating effective change and helping an individual to create new behavior patterns. Because many times people may feel marginalized or misunderstood in these communities. And with a mentor in an online harm reduction community, it's a way to really allow marginalized individuals to reach out to other people in the community who are willing to listen to their story and help guide them to a healing space. So yeah, and slide 9 is about this idea of integration and what integration is, because there are so many challenges, when working with individuals who suffer from, an active disease that does take people's lives, if it's not treated. So when you look at something like epistemology, you have like traditional epistemology, which has this straight line approach to understanding, lineal epistemology is very structured. And this way of developing new techniques to deduce information will also help to develop a new order and hierarchy for helping individuals find a roadmap to basically to life. When you think about someone like my friend Jonathan, who passed away, he wasn't really able to find a way of distinguishing what was false and what was true in terms of lineal epistemology about his disease and about his habits. And a mentor can really help to create that direct line as somebody who says, I understand your suffering and I've listened to your story. And so this can also help a therapist to sort of work with the double description, that is this two contrasting narratives of someone's story where they want to be better. Because an individual will seek out recovery. because there's something that they're seeking about their own life, but they also have this other life that they're living. So, they can, with the mentor, they can also work with these dominant narratives. And maybe the mentor can help a person to foster another vision for their life experience. So this online peer mentorship is a sort of narrative therapy for individuals as well. And it can offer a new way, as I'm kind of proposing it as like a dreamed up nonprofit group that would help and aid individuals like, my friend who passed away, which there are so many individuals who are, marginalized and find themselves at the end of, unfortunately, at the end of their ability to fight a very deadly disease, which is, substance abuse disorder. So moving on to slide 10, just bridging these gaps and to create collective transformative learning for individuals. And what that means in an online space and in an online community, because this is a really novel idea that my neighbors make so much noise, I apologize, that may actually become something, in 20 years time, because the internet and online communication, video chat, even what I am presenting here has become so ubiquitous. It's around, it's everywhere, right? So first order change, is effective for some issues, just building on, let's eat a healthier diet. And I think that, a 30-day detox program can help people to effectively have those first order changes, but without a sober living model, you can't get to the next point where because people may have developed, individuals who suffer from a disease like substance abuse disorder may have developed coping mechanisms that are unhealthy. And so there may be these deeply rooted problems that exist within their family systems that need to be looked at. Sorry, my neighbors make so much noise that I have to adjust the volume of my voice so often. So this could offer a bridgeway for individuals, and maybe also a way for individuals to access, so noisy, for individuals to be able to access services and sober living models that they otherwise would not have access to. So, it helps them to integrate the theories that they even learned while they were in rehab with lived experiences with other people who have also gone through those experiences, so they could gather together in lounge type video chats where they could talk about what they're going through or even their daily lives and their goals, and they could really create a sober community space for people to do critical self-examination with their peers. So not just with mentors, peers can engage, but the mentor also helps to monitor these online chat spaces, just to make sure that the dialogue is moved towards growth. I apologize for that noise. It's ongoing. Yeah, so that growth takes us to slide 12, and the pictures on the side are digital landscapes, because there are so many limits to digital landscapes in a way, but there are also things about digital landscapes that allow for anonymity and ethical sharing. And I think the mentors can do that by fostering these inclusive spaces that validate lived experiences and help to integrate theoretical insights that that people have learned throughout their process of healing, because something like substance abuse disorder, and someone like my friend Jonathan, who actually had active substance abuse disorder since he was 14 years old, and he passed away at age 40. I hope they stop. For him to be able to find that healing and that approach to a new lifestyle, because there were so many enablers in his life. Jonathan had so many enablers in his life that made it difficult for him to be able to integrate even the theories that he himself had learned as someone who claimed that he was a Buddhist, but also engaged in self-harm as an active IV drug user. So it was difficult for him to actually find consistent mentorship from individuals who would not also enable his habits as an IV drug user. I really apologize for this noise in the background. It's maddening. I'm guessing it's not as bad on my laptop speakers. So, yeah, so there's this idea of accountability that comes in. And a lot of times people hide and find themselves in a situation where they're in that autonomous, self-sustaining system with minimal influence from an external environment. You know, it's an unbroken system. So to pull out and look at this system as a whole is where the mentor is, and they can make references to it as an external environment and help really to provide that way of enhancing the feedback and performance that is happening throughout the therapeutic process. So to help people, you know, self-correct eventually, you know, be able to have a self-correcting system, I think is what a sober living model becomes. And the online, you know, mentorship can help people to create a new autonomous system that's self-correcting, and maybe even engage in a lifelong bond outside and create a sort of thing that we would call in Hawaii like a Hanai family, an adopted new family system that's healthier and based on sober living. So new peers and new people to engage with who are modeling better types of living so that individuals can become healthier, which is really the goal of sobriety and finding healthier ways of detoxing and finding ways to live healthier and engaging deeply with yourself in a way that's accountable and promotes accountability. So let's take a look. We are on slide number 13. And yeah, so the mentor creates this non-judgmental, inclusive space where there's open dialogue that honors individual narrative, but it's a structured, supportive environment because it's supposed to create this transformative pedagogy that will facilitate genuine transformation and a grounded form of community accountability. So moving on to slide 15. The mentors encourage this critical reflection and dialogue by using feedback techniques to engage in this new model. So breaking down the ideas that I can't go to rehab. Every time I get stressed out, I have to drink alcohol. I have to use benzodiazepines. I have to inject ketamine. I have to use heroin. There's certain dialogues that people engage in, and a mentor can help to show people that they are not bound to this form of living, and that there are other opportunities, and that they engage with life and with life's challenges in a different way, and to show how they're successful and to help the person to really find a way to live differently, or to seek an environment that's different than what they're getting, which is this constant environment that's a self-contained unit where only people who engage in the exact same thought patterns about how to cope with stress and anxiety and pain, with substance abuse disorder, with alcohol, and so it's showing people different avenues, but demonstrating it as a model of friendship, mentorship, and a way of making, allowing people to bridge their desires to be sober and to have a new way of living. So, slide 16 looks at like the idea of almost gamification, playfulness, perspective, integration, friendship, opportunities for authentic engagement. So it is a form of friendship. Resilient communities that integrate structured support with lived wisdom for transformation. They explore diverse views of their own experiences, which is really important because a map may excludes diverse viewpoints because it's almost like a statistical average. It's that Jungian problem of the individual in modern society where the individual is never the map, right? The individual is the territory. And especially in places where an individual has been suffering for so long in a way that's different from other people who are not suffering from this active substance abuse disorder, the individual needs a way to play with new ideas in their mind. So with online mentorship, there's a ton of challenges, including, maintaining boundaries with people, not just agreeing with people, not being an enabler, and to handle personal emotional triggers when dealing with people who have engaged in long-term things like substance abuse disorder. There's definitely going to be limitations. There will be limitations to treatment, to their progress, to their health. And facilitating positive change means using patience. And so developing, accountability, but also sticking to this idea of responsibly engaging with people. So, they talk about dual relationships in social work and how those are built. And a mentor should have ways that they can foster meaningful growth and support, and be sure to understand that their relationship with the person is first as a mentor, and that they are offering, as the picture shows on slide 17, almost this bridge, this way of supporting people. So to understand that online communities are online. They are spaces where people cannot physically help someone. What happened with my friend Jonathan was he actually overdosed within this online community and passed away, with a headset on, because he was seeking support but still actively engaging in drug use with people who were not trained to stop him. And he was in an environment where he had positioned himself as the mentor, because he was the oldest person, but he was basically the oldest person with the exact same disease that the other people had. So a mentor needs to be someone who's outside, who has overcome those challenges and found themselves in a place where they are able to engage in sobriety and to engage in effective models for coaching change, for helping people to break down from first order change to second order, because it's the first order change that enablers will allow. Oh yeah, no, you have to get drunk because it's your birthday. Well, and you're going to a concert, or you had a stressful day, or you got into a fight with your neighbor. And this is, again, these unbroken systems that exist. So a mentor needs to be outside of these systems so that they can provide an avenue for inserting corrective data. So feedback. That is the position that we're looking at here, and something that we did explore in this course. So let's see. So we're moving on to slide 18. So yeah, we've talked a lot about mindful mentorship, and we're looking at a picture of some people coaching each other. So that would be your peer support. So once people have learned healthy new behaviors, we can look at ways that people can guide each other by giving their personal wisdom and encouraging mutual growth and learning. So moving on to slide 19, and it's going to be we're still looking at a time when it's hard to have these online communities be effective. But over time, there may be ways, as we've seen telemedicine really develop, and online communities themselves have developed so much since the COVID-19 pandemic that we now have people who have grown up in these video type environments. So online communities definitely offer a place where we can we can build community accountability and foster mindful mentorship. And finally, I have slide number 20 is a picture of my dearest friend, Jonathan Moon. And Johnny was my friend for 20 years, my dearest friend, and I like to think that I was his sober, living, wonderful mentor of a friend. And I wish that I had grown enough where I could have engaged with him to help him and provide the support that he needed in his hour of need. And hopefully through these communities, families and people like me won't have to suffer the losses that they've suffered and to endure the intense pain of trying to find a way to help people. When we do have technology now that can help people, and we do have professionals that can help people. So I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present this information, but not only that, to process a loss that I recently had and to bring myself to a place of healing through this presentation. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a pleasant and wonderful winter holiday season.